Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2, and we're live.
Okay.
Not really live.
All right, we're good. I think we're ready to give this a go here. I hope I have enough chops to get through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 practice. Why do we have 9 practice mutes?
That's a lot.
Okay, so what's the point of what we're doing here today? We're going to try out practice mutes. This is quite possibly the dumbest trumpet video we will have ever done, outside of the other 500 videos that I've done. But nonetheless, here in Saeger Studios in San Diego, Tim Saeger's here with me on the other side of the camera running the show. We're hopefully going to have some fun today. So, Tim, where should we start? What should we start with here?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Do you want to start soft to loud, loud to soft?
Well, they're all soft. I mean, this is why this is stupid, right? Because like normally we record the trumpet and we're like trying to get the trumpet sound as like beautiful and whatever as possible. And today's experiment is to see about like eliminating the sound of the trumpet. So I was thinking that maybe we could do like worst to best.
Hey, works for me.
Maybe we should introduce the mutes also here. So we have the Soviet era new stone lined mute. Should I do this? Everybody probably has one of those if you're over the age of like 45.
Hey.
The shh mute. Plastic. The Shastock mute also, I don't know when this was made, but I've had this mute for well over 20 years. This is one of Tim's mutes. This is a very special mute, as you'll hear in a little bit. This is a no-name mute. Good luck finding this. We have the Yamaha. I don't know the model number of this, but you'll recognize this. Everybody knows this mute. The Best Brass aluminum mute, and I think there are some knockoffs on Amazon that you can find. I think they all play similarly. This is the Rejano mute, which just came into my possession just a couple of months ago. Laser printed, whatever that, what is this, nylon material? Do you know what this is, Tim?
Oh, that's new to me.
Whatever laser printed stuff is. This is the Mark Hughes mute, also laser printed, obviously different shape. Mark Hughes, principal trumpet in Houston, is printing mutes. And related to the Mark Hughes mute, because Mark turned me on to this, is the Don Maslett practice mute. This is made of like a sort of cardboardish fiber something or other. So all those technical terms for you guys. So why don't I played through a couple of these as we were kind of setting up. I think we should definitely start with the worst one and just get that out of the way. Get it out of the way.
Let's do it.
Get the bad taste in everybody's mouth, and then we'll sweeten it up. So Tim's no-name mute. Did you paint this, dude? Because this is like really shiny.
Oh, no.
But did you repaint it?
I don't even know where I got it.
It looks like work's been done on this. If you could see this cork, you could see like it looks like maybe his dogs have been chewing on it. So, all right.
Quite
hopefully this
possibly.
stays in. We'll give it a go. Okay. Well, it does have a low F, which is actually kind of nice, but the rest of it is like kind of turbulent. You hear that like it kind of slides in and out of what we would consider to be like resonant.
So if you really want to recalibrate your chops,
yeah. So this is the mute. When people say the practice mute screws me up and I can't do it, this is probably what you're playing on, because you're fishing for what we would call the center of the note, or what, something that resembles vibrancy. So one of the things that I like to focus on when I'm playing is like, if we talk about like what fills a concert hall is not necessarily volume. yes, there's volume. But what I try to tell people and tell myself is to fill the concert hall with your articulation, not with like pushing sound out into the hall. So one of the things that I'm looking for in a practice mute is like how can I hear the articulation? So this one, other than like we're fishing for things, like I feel like I have to like really do that. So not my favorite. If you can find this no name one, I mean, just don't. Okay. This thing, you might need a secondary crane to help like hold that up. Okay. So totally different sound. This actually, I don't know, Tim, what do you think? Like kind of a cup mute type sound. Again, like where I want to put it, it isn't really allowing me to put the note where I want to put it. But so I feel like I have to push. Again, a mute where when people say, oh, it screws up my chops. I mean, I feel like I'm pushing to just hear myself. So I think that could be something that would screw up your chops. If you're regularly just trying to like play in a hotel room or play while you're on vacation and you find yourself like, I have to push really hard, that is going to be a taxing situation. So not my favorite mute, a lot of resistance, also a lot of resistance on Mr. No Name. But, I know a lot of people do have these, maybe in the back of their closets. Lots of resistance. Very covered sound. So, there you go. Stone-lined, she quiet, Manny Klein practice mute. All right. Okay, now those are the two worst ones in my opinion. Or I should say they weren't my favorites. So I think, why don't we do this Shastock? Another sort of like fiber mute. This is shorter. The cone inside, you probably won't be able to see it, but the cone inside doesn't come out as much. This has like felt around the bottom of this. I've used this. This was kind of my practice mute for many years. Again, I don't know why I have so many practice mutes. I mean, it's not like they're regularly called for, but I have used this mute successfully on, I think it's Tony Plogue's 4 sketches. There's a 2 trumpet thing that requires sort of like alternating back and forth. I think it's Plogue's 4 sketches. Nonetheless, we use this mute to great success. Again, comes out of the bell pretty far. You're not going to be able to really put that into a trumpet case with this in it. Very soft mute. I'm getting a lot of good front on the notes though, so I like that. Now, I'm not getting a lot of buzz out of this, but it's very quiet. What do you hear, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Definitely really quiet. Not a lot of chord to it, but if you're trying not to wake the baby.
Yeah, I actually think this may be the softest of the mutes. I don't know. Maybe we'll do an Amazon search. I don't even know if this stuff is even still for sale. Cool thing, it's just got a really tiny cork kind of embedded into it here. So
hey, did you say that you used it in concert?
I did. Yeah. We in a brass quintet that I was in, the Valor Brass, we played again, I think I'm remembering this correctly, the Plogue 4 sketches, and I think it's the second movement where the trumpets have it calls for practice mute, and we use this. So it plays reasonably well in tune, lots of front to the note. I don't feel like I'm going like I don't have to like push into that articulation. So,
sounds in tune.
It's in tune. Like I said, I like the fronts of the notes that I'm getting on this. I don't have to push that hard. Excellent practice mute, in my opinion here. So Shastock, a micro product. This seems pretty macro to me, but a micro product. Okay, next. What do we got here? Why don't let's take a look at this Best Brass. This is also a very quiet mute. We use this on tour with the Montreal Symphony. We were playing the Rite of Spring, Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. The beginning of the second part, there's a 2-trumpet duet that the conductor, we just couldn't get it quiet enough. And so kind of had I don't know how bright of an idea it was, but we decided to use practice mutes. Maybe kind of as a joke, but it ended up being super successful. So with the metal mute, you still get a little bit of buzz in the sound as opposed to maybe some of these others that we've played, which is kind of nice. The nice thing about this is that it fits into the end of the bell. And we can kind of get that into the trumpet case. So if you're traveling, you don't have to carry a separate mute bag. Maybe we'll link some things, Again, you guys can do the Google search. You don't have to ask me. You just search on Google. Best Brass Practice Mute, Shastock Mute, Shush Mute. You can do it. You can do it. All right, we'll give it a go. Okay, so this one is probably the softest one. What do you think? Okay, so now we have some intonation issues and some sort of like buzziness issues. So I think where it works best is actually in that middle range, which is like right where that Stravinsky is also written. You can really hear daw daw. You can really hear, like, I can hear it inside of my mouth here. So, what do you hear, Tim?
I hear a lot of highs in the sound.
Yeah.
Very metallic, definitely softer.
Very quiet. You're not going to wake any neighbors in any hotel rooms, any apartment, condo buildings. So I think this is probably the softest mute of these guys. Again, maybe we'll link how much these cost. I don't remember. Best Brass tend to be on the more pricey side of all mutes. I do like their straight mute. We use that in the orchestra quite a bit. The Best Brass here is kind of, for me, gone by the wayside a little bit in recent years, but a worthy competitor here, I think. Where should we go next? Should we try practice the plastic mute here? So the mute. Okay, so I think that there are two versions of this. One with a larger hole, and this is the smaller holed one. I don't have the larger holed one, and we're not doing this video again. So this is the one we're gonna sort of test out here. I like this mute quite a bit. It does have, a bit of extra profile here, if you will. So for me, that's, I'm looking for those highs as compared to some of these other ones that are sort of hollow and kind of dull sounding. That's where we end up trying to push, because I think as trumpet players, we're always secretly seeking that sizzle, that zzz, the buzz in the sound, and that's the highs that I think that we're always looking for. This is kind of immediate in these plastic practice mutes. Maybe not the absolute best low register. Maybe that's operator error. Maybe not the absolute best trumpet player. But what do you think, Tim?
I really like this one. I use this one all the time, and I have used it as a soft straight mute.
Definitely. I'd mentioned before with with the best brass here that we had used it in concert. This is definitely something I could use if a conductor were particularly finicky. I don't feel like I'm going da, 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 da. You know, I'm just da, 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 and you're hearing a nice pop. I hope I'm hearing a nice pop here. So it does get a little funky down in the extreme low register. Whatever. You're probably not using a practice mute on stage in the extreme low register anyways. So anyways, shh, mute. Okay. The Maslett mute. I really like this. I didn't bring it. It's my fault. But there is a little tube that goes in the bottom of this that you can kind of move in and out, and it will kind of change the volume and a little bit of the resistance. This is a mute that I've used for a number of years, probably about 3 or 4 years. So you're immediately aware that it's a louder mute. Do you hear that, Tim?
Definitely a louder mute here. Yeah.
If you've watched my warm-up video, you'll know that I warm up in a practice mute every single day. So I'm using a practice mute for probably about 30 minutes right off the bat every single morning. So for me, practice mute isn't so much about I don't need the most quiet mute because I'm not necessarily trying to not disturb the neighbors. I just need it quiet enough that I'm not focused on the sound that I'm making, because a lot of times, you know, we pick up the horn and the first thing out is maybe not the best sound. So the practice mute eliminates that whole thing of like, am I making my best sound possible all the time? I'm just looking for form and function when I'm warming up. Thus, you know, I guess that's why I have so many practice mutes. But I do like this one because it is louder. There's a lot more buzz in the sound. But again, it's not going to disturb the neighbors or anything like that. This, like I said before, this is sort of a very hard kind of cardboard mute. There's a little stem down at the bottom that's actually covered, looks like in plastic, but it's quite a ways down the tube there. Cool thing with this is like weather stripping, so it's not gonna fall out of the bell. You can find these online. You do the work. I mean, I'm not even putting a lot of air into the horn and you're already hearing that buzz. Lots of buzz on that low F sharp. So for me, I think that plays pretty well in tune. Tim, what do you hear?
Yeah, definitely in tune. It sounds great. I really like that one.
Yeah, this is definitely something that, you know, if a composer called for practice mute, I would feel very comfortable using this in the orchestra. Lots of buzz. It's going to get out there. So Don Maslett handmade mutes. Yeah. Now, handmade, maybe yours will be handmade different than mine. Good luck. But this one is very good. Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm going to have to get one of those, Chris.
Yeah, dude. I think they sell them at like Tomon Music, and you know, Dylan might have them. I think he also makes French horn mutes. So wherever you find like French horn mutes, you probably find this guy here. So okay, we're down to the last 2 mutes, and these 2 mutes have come into my possession very recently, like in the last like 4 months or so. David Rejano, principal trombone in the LA Phil, gave this mute to me. I was playing with those guys recently, and I was joking with him that I asked him if he like gifted all the terrible trumpet players that come to play with them with a practice mute. He didn't want to hear me play, so here, man, here, have this practice mute. These mutes are made. These are laser engraved or laser printed mutes made by Steve Trapani. Also, good buddy of ours down here in San Diego. Awesome bass trombone player. Anyway, Steve and David seem to have paired up. I don't know the story that deeply, but they seem to have paired up and are making trombone mutes and trumpet mutes. You can choose whatever color you want. I was not offered that option. David just handed me this one. So I'm colorblind. I hope you like the yellow. Okay. So this is one of my favorite practice mutes. Fits in the bell. Does come out a little bit, but I've been able to fit it into most of my cases. So great for travel. Just kind of a beautiful, it is kind of a work of art. I mean, I do like the shape of this and sort of it reminds me of like Palm Springs, kind of a retro mid-century kind of thing. So that's cool. All right. So soft mute, but I'm still getting like a lot of buzz. Now, if I really push into it, but just like a normal, just whatever natural volume there is. So what I like about this is that it really is like an awesome all-around practice mute. It's softer than the Maslett, but it also fits in the bell, kind of like the bass brass here. So what do you hear, Tim?
Yeah, that sounds great. I like the sound, the buzziness of it, nice feedback.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's really easy. You're getting a nice front in the articulation, so I'd be eager to try that one once we're done here. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very small end on this. I'm not getting a lot of, there's a little bit of pressure coming back at me, but not enough that I'm like, oh, I can't play it. So I think it plays fairly well in tune. So I like this. And I also just like the look of it too. So Rejano, David Rejano, thank you for the mute. Steve, you guys are doing great stuff over there. And I think we also reviewed a straight mute maybe 2 years ago, which is also a fantastic mute. But this guy, look online for it. You'll find it. We forgot about the Yamaha mute. So there's the first Yamaha mute, which I couldn't find. I think it got lost in a mute in a move somewhere. This guy is the one that you can kind of plug in with earphones and all kinds of stuff. The most flush mute with, yeah, perfect.
Yikes.
Beautiful. That actually shows you how much I've used this mute over the years, is that it barely stays in the bell anymore. But you can kind of, if you wanted to record yourself, I think like this jack goes into like, you can record into GarageBand or whatever. Nonetheless, I use this mute extensively for a number of years to kind of just warm up in. Very dead sounding mute. So, I don't know. What do you hear, Tim?
That is definitely softer.
Yeah, it's a very soft mute. Again, this might be one of those situations where when trumpet players complain, oh, playing a practice mute, my chops get, like it's because we're not hearing all the highs. So when we can hear on these more like plastic type mutes, they're still soft, but we're getting a lot of buzz. We don't need to like push into them and sort of spread this apart. So if you're one of these people that likes to complain, online. You can't help yourself. You must complain.
Trumpet players complaining.
What? Yeah, I know. This is new to me. I just found this out by going online in the last couple of years. If you're one of these trumpet players that likes to complain about, I can't play in a practice mute, or a cut mute makes me flat, and all of this stuff, fix it. Buy a different practice mute. Buy a different cut mute. Fix it. Don't complain about it. So nonetheless, great mute. This is an awesome, like, sort of travel mute. Literally fits flush with the bell. Will go into any case. So definite plus there. And if you're into, like, you know, wanting to record, or if you're in a place where you want to, like, run it, this will run it. That jack will run into earphones.
Have you tried with headphones before?
Yeah, actually, I used to do that quite a bit. When I warm up, I wouldn't use the earphones, but when we would travel and I would maybe be someplace for like a month, like in one place, and was like, okay, I actually have to practice, then I would run the earphones so I could get some sense of, like, what is actually happening here. And that might be a solution too to all of you complaining trumpet players out there that might use this mute, that, oh, the resistance in my chops, and here's my chops. That you actually use the earphones with it, so that you're getting, like, kind of real-time feedback and understanding, like, you don't actually need to push that hard on it. So that was helpful, because, like, you can hear the highs in the sound when you have the earphones in. Without the earphones, it's a little challenging to get the highs unless you're, you know, really, really muscling the thing. So that's the Yamaha. I can't remember. I don't know what it's called. It's like the Practice Mute Volume Gen 2 Practice Mute or whatever. We'll find it, or you can find it. We're doing enough work here. Okay, the Mark Hughes mute. My buddy Mark Hughes down in Houston, I went down to see him a few months ago, and unbeknownst to me, he was making practice mutes. And I got this guy from him. I forgot it at home, but there is a piece that goes into the bottom here that changes, like, the volume. So this is at its most open, sort of like loudest setting. Again, it has like some sort of weather stripping type thing. So that's not coming out of here. This is also weather stripping, but I've used it so much that I should probably just get new weather stripping. But anyways, weather stripping, laser printed mute. Definitely our loudest practice mute. In many ways, I would not maybe call this a practice mute, because I think that this could double really truly as a very soft straight mute. Think Debussy Fete if you have a conductor who's just like way less. Again, something like the second part of Rite of Spring, the trumpet duet, this is going to work beautifully for that. So lots of buzz. Sorry. I'm barely, like, touching the horn. You can still get that sense of buzz. So, I mean, that is, like, as good as I think it's going to get in terms of a practice mute. I'm using this virtually every day to warm up in. Doesn't disturb the neighbors, you know. By the way, there is no such thing as, like, the perfect practice mute. I know that we're reviewing a number of them here today. They all have their kind of pluses and minuses. Except for that. That's all minuses. There are no pluses, except for comedic value. If you want to, you know, we're using practice mutes for very specific reasons, either like me to warm up, or if you have it actually called for in a part. But, like, we're looking for something that's reasonably well in tune. And in my opinion, we want something that has this buzz to it, particularly if you're playing in a large concert hall that, you know, we do need the sound to go potentially a half a city block away. This mute with this material is going to carry, and it's not going to be, like, so silent that then we get ourselves into trouble with really blowing really hard into the instrument. So to me, what I'm looking for in terms of like, this covers the sound enough that I'm not, when I'm warming up, I'm not focused on, okay, am I making the most beautiful sound with no air in it and no nothing? Like, I can just kind of play this. I'm just listening for buzz in the sound. That buzz happens when we're playing down the middle of the instrument. You know, all of those things, like I'm actually, you know, getting a lot of that, everything I'm looking for open with this mute in. And this is like, I would consider this to be just very mezzo forte. If we want to play more like forte fortissimo. Now, you may not get any real sense of like, you know, how actually loud that I'm playing. But I think even at fortissimo, it's going to sound like a soft, straight mute. What do you hear, Tim?
Yeah, this mute has a lot of feedback, so it gives you nice feedback of what you're playing while, you know, maintaining a nice, decent volume. Not the softest in the world, but yeah, nice sound, good feedback. I'd be interested to try this one too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like, you know, people that want like, I want it to be as quiet as possible, but I still want buzz, but I want it to play in tune, and I want, you know, all the complainers out there that nothing's right, you know, like, it's never going to happen. I mean, everything changes everything else. The moment we put something into the bell, it affects everything. So this to me plays very well in tune. It's got the buzz, the fronts of the notes that I'm always looking for in my own playing. And so I just say to you, you know, like, the only way that it's ever going to be the same is if you just like stand out in the middle of the field and just blow your brains out every single morning, you know, like, but most of us don't live on farms and can't really do that. So to me, like this mute, and again, I should have prefaced this at the beginning. Nobody's paid me to do this. I don't care if you buy any of these mutes, but a bunch of you wrote me and said you wanted me to do a practice mute review. So here's the review. I'm not shilling for Mark or whatever, you know. So this Mark Hughes mute is fantastic. The Rejano mute is fantastic. And I really like the Maslett mute. For travel, you know, the Yamaha mute I think can't be beat. And this the Best Brass mute is also is like great for just traveling. You want to be on stage. You know, the cool thing about this little guy is that it fits easily. You know, if you have like a small mute bag, you're going to be able to maybe kind of sneak this in next to the 4 or 5 mutes if you're, you know, Broadway gig or whatever calls for that. Great mute. Also, it's not going to take up a lot of space. That's I do like that about this mute. I mean, we definitely played all 9 of them. I hope this satisfies everybody who wrote me, and you know, and there were a lot of you that wrote that wanted the practice mute thing. So, Tim, what else should we do?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, we don't have every mute in the world here, so.
And somebody will complain about that. There are obviously a number of other practice mutes out there. I just don't have them, and I hope that I never have to buy another practice mute ever again. Actually, these 8 or 9 should suffice.
Hey, Chris, what do you say we wrap this up with maybe a scale from each of the mutes, and we'll do a quick side-by-side, cut in and out, and I'll edit and post.
Dude, okay, so hopefully we didn't ramble too long here. We got through 9 practice mutes. I'm not necessarily like promoting anybody. I just wanted to let you know which ones I have and which ones I like. So enjoy it. I think we satisfied all aspects of this trumpet playing. If you're a high note player, I mean, I only played up to an F, you know, I mean, that's not even a high note. But if you're a high note player and you're like, man, I desperately want to know what high C sounds like on this mute, you should definitely make your own practice mute video and go out and buy 9 mutes and make it happen. So good luck to you. Thanks for listening. Hopefully we didn't bore you too much. Hopefully you had a little bit of fun. And yeah, thanks. Dude, should we make the dogs go crazy? Can you get like 400,000 views if we like... Will we get 400,000 views on that? All right. Ready? This is the mute right here. That's the one you're looking for. There you go. That might use this mute. That resistance in my chops, and here's my chops. If you're one of these trumpet players that likes to complain about I can't play in a practice mute or a cut mute makes me flat and all of this stuff, fix it. Buy a different practice mute. Buy a different cut mute. Fix it. Don't complain about it.